Sitakufa, kifo kishindwe, ni lazima nitimize ndoto zangu. Sitakufa, kifo kishindwe, ni lazima nitimize ndoto zangu. Okay, I know it's like, sounds like a very, very vibrant song, but it's a song I used to sing a lot growing up, which is, I cannot die, knock on wood. I have to fulfill my dreams. And my dream has always been that kids growing up in Mogotio and in communities like mine to have a different story, to have a story of possibility, of hope, not a story of starvation and sadness and their childhood being taken away. And so at such a young age, I was lucky enough to find my why. Just to set the stage, this is where I grew up. I wish I had more pictures of our childhood home. I wish I had pictures I could show you inside, but it was just such a sad home. It was so embarrassing. Like, you can look that it's made of iron sheets. Let me see if there's another one. Yeah. So you can see it's made of iron sheets. The floor is really rugged. I spent all my childhood sleeping on the floor. I used to sleep on the floor with my sister, the one in the background there. And I just wanted to have a childhood. I just wanted to play with my friends. I wanted to but I spent most of my childhood herding cows. Over here is my mom. This was her place of business. So she used to sell vegetables on the roadside. So she'd wake up at 5 a.m., bake, mandazis and chapatis of vegetables, probably making like $1 a day doing that. And on a bad day, she'd actually make less and lose money because she wasn't able to make her money back. And at just like 11 years old, I was asked to go sell vegetables or herd cows. And I just really wanted to play with my friends. And I wanted to resent my mom for making me work. But then I look at her, and for the first time, I actually saw her. I saw her as Christina Cheboi, a woman from rural Kenya, working really hard to educate her daughters. And instead of resenting, I actually had this so much overwhelming purpose to take care of her. I really wanted her to catch a break. I wanted her to just live like a queen. And so at 11 years old, there's nothing I could do. There's nothing I could do to help her. So instead, I'll sing her this song that says, mkono wangu mdogo we hawezi kufanya kazi, nikikuwa mkubwa we nitakusaidia, hutapumzika. So the song goes, my hands are so tiny, I cannot do anything, but when I grow up, I'm going to show you the world. Then she'll be like, oh, you're so cute. So side note, I actually did sing her that song on the CNN stage. So I was able to show her the world. So I started thinking of okay, I want to grow up, I want to take care of my mom, I want to sustainably fix poverty. And the only thing I could do as a young student then was study really hard in school. So I used to study really hard in school. We didn't have electricity growing up. Kerosene was very expensive, so which meant at 7 p.m. it's all darkness. I tried studying with firewood, but it was, the smoke, right? And firewood is not cheap either. So what I used to do is I used to study in verandas. I'll go where there's fluorescent light and study there until 2 a.m. So I did very well out of my primary education, went to a nice high school. I finished high school. I was also the top. But then I did not have a chance of higher learning. I could not go to a Kenyan university. Even though I did really well, I didn't have my papers. I didn't have my diploma because they needed to hold it until I clear my tuition. It's a way of, what can I say? It's like we don't have a good credit system. So until you pay for your entire tuition, that's when you get your certificate to go to higher learning. So I did not have that. So then I was back on the roadside. Then I was back selling vegetables. And it felt so unfair because I worked really hard, but I was still on the roadside. So what I started doing, I started telling people my story. Mimi ni Nelly, my name is Nelly, I got an A. Mimi ni Nelly, nilipata A. Mimi ni Nelly, nilipata A. Someone comes, buys vegetables. Hi, here are your vegetables. Mimi ni Nelly, nilipata A. Someone comes and buys mandazis. Here, some chapatis. Mimi ni Nelly, nilipata A. I was telling everyone my story until my siblings used to make fun of me. They're like, did you tell her you got an A? Did you tell her? But funny enough, it's like one person I told that story introduced me to a program called Zawadi Africa. And Zawadi Africa helps young women apply to scholarships in the US. And through Zawadi Africa, I got a scholarship to study to America. So in 2012, I went to Augustana College. I wish I had a picture of it, but I went to Augustana College on a full ride scholarship. And when I got there, I realized just how different it is growing up in Chicago versus growing up in Mogotio. How just by being born in Mogotio, you are dealt a really hard card. That it's really hard to make it when you're born in a place like that. When you're born in a place like Chicago, you grow up going to swimming lessons, you grow up exploring your talent, you grow up just, being a child. But when you're growing up in Mogotio, you're just fighting to survive. You're just fighting to have food. You're just fighting for your right as a child. So after 1 year in Augustana College, so when I got to Augustana College, immediately I started working, doing a work-study program, like working in the cafeteria, working in, doing janitorial work, just any money I could make. And the goal was to get my mom to retire, to get my mom out of the roadside. So I saved all my money. I was making about $8 an hour. I could only work 20 hours a week. That comes out to about $200 a week. I saved it, and in 1 year, I was able to, fly back home. I went and I bought all the furniture on this house here. I'm so bad with direction, so if you're looking at this on the left, okay, I bought all the furniture on the left, so I moved my family into a much better home compared to the one you saw earlier. We had TV, we had sofa set, we had 2 beds, we had blankets, like we had spoons, and for the first time we were actually hosting people in our home. As a Kenyan, as an African, you probably understand how important it is to be able to bring someone to your home and serve them tea and just host them, something we were too embarrassed to do growing up, and for the first time we were hosting people. I like including this picture here of my grandma. My grandma never went to school, and she always says, go get your degree and diploma. So go get your degrees and your diplomas. And so when I graduated, I gave her my graduation gown as an honorary, I come from a line of very strong women. So my family was good. Like my mom retired. I was able to support my family just as a college student. And now I was thinking about my community. Specifically, I was thinking about children growing up in Mogotio. I really wanted them to have a different story. So I started very small. I was still making $8 an hour. I was still making $160 a week. I was like, I'm gonna build a school. It's not much. You see, like the school over there probably cost me like $5,000, which is a lot of money for a college student. I wasn't really good at fundraising, so I just kept working, doing cafeteria work and stuff like that. So I built that one as a junior in college. Started with very, very few students. And the first thing I wanted in that school was a swing set. I just wanted kids to be able to play. I just wanted them, it was just a swing set, very, very simple, but it signified a lot. So this is the school now. That's Sasha. So this is the school now, a lot more students, a lot more love. I just show you another snapshot of the school. Just side note, I built that. Like literally built it with my own money. I think when you grow up in poverty, you have this sacred relationship with money. Like it's so scarce, it's so powerful. And as a fundraiser, that is a really, really hard position to be in because it's really hard to go and tell your story and ask someone for money. So, so fundraising has always been really hard for me because like the idea that someone can give me money to like do my dreams has just been so challenging. So instead, what I kept doing what I was doing in college. I just kept working more hours and more hours and more hours. So the same thing with the building, right? If you look at this building standing right here, that's $300,000. And what I just kept doing is I lived in the village, I worked remotely for companies in America, and every single dollar I got, I put it into that building. Okay, so now it's more than just a swing set. The kids at my school get to play chess. They have such a colorful campus full of art. They do robotics. They have VR. They're it's a whole other story about their computer prowess. We'll get back to that. And this one, this is Lady. She's 11 years old from my village. And you can see right there in the middle, she's on a plane. She's on a plane going to Switzerland. And she's sitting on a panel with the CEO of Logitech. At 11 years old, she's talking about girls in tech. She's talking about the power of technology. Over there, she's sitting with a Blue Origin astronaut. That's Aisha Bowe. She just got back from space with Blue Origin. Just let us sink in for a moment. Just think about it. She grew up where I grew up, right? She probably had the same story. But because of what I went through, because of the challenges I went through, and because I swore that kids growing up in Mogotio need to have a different story, Lady has a different story now. Her story is not the same as mine anymore. Her story is how she went to Lausanne at 11 years old, how she sat on a panel with the CEO of Logitech, how she's in communication with an astronaut, how she can type 30 words per minute, how she can make music in LMMS, how she can make logos. She has a different story. And when I see that 11-year-old me, remember at 11 years old I was singing, Sitakufa, kifo kishindwe, ni lazima nitimize ndoto zangu. At 11 years old, she has a different story. So that childhood, that small Kosi, that small Nelly, is just so at peace. Because of what I went through, Lady has a different story. And this is not just Lady. It's 10,000 students that get to benefit from our program. Girls like Sharon, look at her. She's typing at, I don't know, about 100 words per minute. She's 12 in this video, and she's typing at about 100 words per minute. I first used a computer when I was 19. I got to America, and I went to the library, and everyone was typing so fast. And I thought, if I become really good at looking, if I become so good at looking, I'll type just as fast as them. I didn't even know how to use Google. I did not know any of this tech stuff. And when I finally discovered computer science as a junior in college, I was like, I am gonna go into the tech world. I am gonna become a software engineer. So I got a computer science degree in 1 year. I went to the industry. I could not even get a job. Because someone gives me an interview, I can't even type. I can't. I'm just like typing like this. In Kenya, we call it a DJ. You're just like, because I couldn't, no one would be like, why would you hire this? They're going to just type like this forever. So I end up getting a job as a data entry. And my boss, Justin, had a keyboard with no words in it. And I was like, I was so shocked. And so every time he would come and I have to show him some work, I would literally shake and stammer because I'm so scared I'm a liability. I'm going to lose my job. And mind you, I'm an international student. If I lose this job, I'm getting deported. So it was just like it was just felt, I had such a hard time breaking into tech. So I later learned that what Justin was doing is called touch typing. So I went and learned touch typing for 6 months, and then I became a software engineer. And the whole time I kept thinking, Nelly, you made it all the way from rural Kenya to America. The reason you are struggling with technology is simply because you grew up in Mogotio. And while that was supposed to give me solace, what it did was, what about kids growing up in Mogotio? Do they have to leave home? Do they have to leave home to discover technology? And that became the genesis of TechLit Africa. So I do have two projects. I have the school, which has about 300 students, and the kids in the school are the ones who have all of this. Like Lady is a student of the school. And then I do have TechLit Africa, where we take computers going to waste in these Western countries. A computer that's 4 years old is too old for them. We repackage them with lightweight Linux image, and we distribute it to schools around Kenya. And so right now, at TechLit Africa, we have those 10,000 students who are learning to type. So right now we have about 400 students who can type. And for me, that is, seeing Sharon typing that fast is just so amazing. She doesn't have to go through what I went through. She doesn't have to struggle to break into tech. I tell the kids that I first used a computer when I was 19, and I kid you not, they laugh at me. They're like, see, that's already a different story. They already have a different story. They have the story of like doing mind tests and Minecraft when they're in first grade, and typing and stuff like that. Here's another one. So this is Ogutu. Ogutu is coding. So he's making a file, and then he's making it to be executable, and then he's using Vim. So if you're a coder, you recognize how hardcore Vim is. He's using Vim to write the code, right? And then look at the dexterity on his keys. Like, look at the way he looks like a sysadmin, right? This is a 13-year-old boy in 8th grade. And this is like how technically. So Gutu has been in the program for about 4 years. I'm telling you, like, he's so technical. He's ready. He's ready for remote work. He's ready to work. He's just too young to be child labor otherwise. But he has all the skills. And that's really what we're imagining for TechLit Africa. We're imagining kids growing up with technology, kids growing up with, okay, one second. We're imagining kids growing up with opportunities to make a living. We're imagining kids growing up just being able to work remotely for any company in the world without leaving the community. Because if they have the technical skills and they have the communication, you can see Ogutu is very comfortable in video. They have the communication skills and they have the networking, then it's possible for them to work remotely for any company in the world without leaving their community. Because we really do believe you don't have to leave home to make it. Just like the way I was able to build a school working remotely for companies in California, we're thinking about the same for these kids. And then I just want to finish with just showing you my mom. She looks so different from the first slide, right? Though the pictures are like 10 years old different. So over there, we were in New York. Looks like a runway model over there. This is her in winter. And this is our new home, our new childhood home. We just finished building it. It's really beautiful inside. We still have to work on the landscaping. But it's, compared to the first one, it's just like, when we finished building this home and I went in, I was actually so overwhelmed with joy and relief that really she gets to live like a queen. The main important thing I did, I made sure that I got her the most expensive bed so she can just like sleep as long as she wants, just take a break. And because she worked really hard to educate us, we want to make sure that she gets to enjoy the rest of her life living like a queen, and more importantly, that kids growing up in Mogotio have a different story. And I want to finish with my favorite quote. The world's greatest works, if you think about anything, iPhone, whatever, right? Zawadi, TechLit Africa, were not commissioned. No one went and asked Steve Jobs to make an iPhone, right? They were created by people who could not bear their absence. So as entrepreneurs, there are things that we cannot stand not existing in this world. We cannot stand, for example, having Syrian refugee children at 10 years old or having Palestinian refugees at 12 years old. There are things that you know deep down you cannot stand, right? Existing or existing without absence. And whatever that is, you just have to go out there and create it. It's not easy. Oh my, it's not easy. It's not easy. It's being scared, is like shaking, it's being nervous, it's sleepless nights. But that feeling of creating something you cannot stand not existing or eradicating something that is existing is a much better feeling than just sitting there and waiting for it to happen. So I stand here very nervous. Sometimes my voice shakes. Sometimes I'm very unsure what I'm doing, but I do it anyway. I do it anyway. I do it anyway. I do it anyway. I started with just wanting my mom to have a different story. Then it became the children growing up in Mogote to have a different story. Now it's the children in Kenya to have a different story. The children in the continent to have a different story. Maybe the children of the world to have a different story. And that's what drives me. So the world's greatest works were not commissioned. They were created by people who could not stand its absence. Thank you.